Welcome to Family Tree Nuts. This video is to tell you who we are and what we do. I'm Russ Carson Jr., the genealogist and the founder of Family Tree Nuts. And for years, I kept hearing people say, I'd love to know about my ancestors, but I don't know how, I don't have the time, and I don't want to pay for those expensive membership fees. So in 2017, I founded Family Tree Nuts. Family Tree Nuts is a full-service history and genealogy service with nuts, some people would call them teammates, all over the country. First and foremost, our primary mission is to build family trees for clients. We do the research and build simple or detailed family trees and provide our clients with professionally written reports that are keepsakes forever. We have many different levels of our service plans to meet most needs or budgets. Our plans are listed on our website, and we can provide you with many different examples and testimonials. We also produce historic videos, and we make 3 different types of these videos. First, we make videos about historical people or places. Many of these are produced for historical and tourism organizations. Second, ancestor stories, which are with a client at a relevant location of an ancestor sharing their story. And third, life interviews, with elder family members documenting their lives. We make many of these videos on Facebook Live, so be on the lookout for those as well. Thanks for checking us out, and make sure you follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let us know how we can help you with your history and genealogy needs. You can contact us at info@familytreenuts.org. And remember, Family Tree Nuts, let our nuts find the nuts in your family tree.
Hey!
Hey, are we live?
We are live.
Jordan, we are live. It's funny seeing you on this side, man.
Right? Man, and the whole world gets to see my face now instead of just hear about me. That's kind of cool.
They always hear us talking to you, don't they? Man, I tell you what, I am absolutely excited about this. Like, I'm stupid excited, and people don't even know what I'm talking about here. But folks, if you don't know who we've got here, this is Jordan Freshour, and Jordan. I know many of you people have seen our live videos that we do, not the ones in the field, but our shows that we do. Jordan is actually the one in the background, someplace in the country where he's at during that day, and
in DC today, actually.
Yeah. Where are you? Are you in DC?
Waldorf, Maryland.
Waldorf, Maryland. You're in the Waldorf Astoria, right?
Oh yeah.
So Jordan works for Let me just shut up. Let you talk for a minute because I got a lot of things to tell you. So tell them who you are, what you do, and what we're doing here, and all that.
My name's Jordan Freshour, and I work with Steadilive and JRS4 Media. We do all sorts of awesome photography, live streaming events locally and throughout the country. And one of the things that we love doing the most is this show, Family Tree Nuts, and I've been helping produce it for almost a year now. So I finally get to step out from the veil and address that same audience. I've helped see your wonderful face, and you share those wonderful stories all this time. Now I get to be a part of it. So cool.
Absolutely. And we wanted to have you on for other things anyway, but you get to sit there and listen to hear us talk about genealogy and history and this person's family tree. And you've been on us for quite some time, and you're like, hello.
It was kind of an inside joke for a little while. It's like, yeah, we'll just do a show if we get bored one night about my family tree. And then, like, here you go, having me on the show. And it's like, wow, what a cool surprise that is.
Yeah. So before we get really started here, what is Steadilive? What is that? I know you just touched base on that a second. Say a little bit more about that, if you would.
I'd say it's a lot of things, but more than anything else, we're the definitive solution for professional live streaming on a compact level. We can take our gear, go anywhere, and do magic like you wouldn't believe. You almost have to have us out to really kind of wrap your head around it. It's really awesome. The last couple years, we've got to just go all over the country and help people do better at live streaming, tell people stories. You and Family Tree Nuts are a really great example of that. So if you can just think about that in any industry or world that you can come up with, we have a huge team that does a lot of great work, and you're at the top of that list, Russ.
Yeah, man, appreciate that. You've got a guy that you work with that's
Chris Carson? Is that your brother? Chris Carson?
Yeah.
I guess the last names are the same. So absolutely. I shouldn't mention the mastermind with the hair. Or I shouldn't forget to mention the mastermind with the hair. So we've really kind of been some trailblazers this last year. Can't wait to get back on the road.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Really appreciate everything you guys do for us to get us out there. Don Smith says that he was working on his family tree, but he took a break to watch. See what we're doing here today.
Oh, high expectations tonight.
And it looks like Jameson has commented. He said, "Hey, Jordan, can you hear me?" So I guess that's a little insight. But Blaine says, "Hey, good evening, guys." And Chris says, "Jordan is with the awesome team at Steady Ready." Absolutely. Teresa says, "Hello. Love you guys. Pumped to learn more about Jordan's family tree." Well, so am I. I wanted to kind of start this to say that Amanda says she remembers that hair. So it's
how could you forget it?
Luckily, they say it's on the mother's side. So our grandfather passed away with a whole dabburn head of hair. So we're thinking we're doing okay. How about you, Jordan? You got any? How's your hair situation?
I have affectionately referred to the tag team of Chris and I as the hair and the hat. So I got most of my hair. It's just way cooler with this thing, if you're me. That's all.
I have never seen you without that hat on. So
2 seconds.
But yeah. So I wanted to say in the beginning that this is not a complete story of the Jordan Freshour family tree. Basically, one of the genealogists at Family Tree Nuts began to work on your family tree, and they said, "Hey, oh my gosh, you're not going to believe this stuff. So you're not going to believe it." So I looked at it and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I got to tell you, but why don't we tell you right here while all these people are watching?"
Before we get started,
so
I just want to give a little context. I have a small living family, and I love them to death. And I know basically, 2 or 3 generations, like most people. So you hear stories at family reunions or holidays about, who is this or where that person came from, but you rarely ever get the whole story at once. And I'm going to get part of that tonight. So this is really exciting to connect some of those dots and maybe even put some of my relatives to task, see what they know.
Well, yeah, I'd be surprised if they knew some of this, because this is some stuff. We're going to have to do episode 2, 3, 4 probably with your tree. And like I say, this is something that we've never done before, but you've got some stuff in your family tree.
No axe murderers?
And this, I want to say, huh?
No axe murderers? No serial killers?
You got some killers.
Okay, all right. I guess we'll have to wait. I don't know. I'm just hoping for the best.
And so, but this is really live. Like, I have not told you this stuff. Like, we've communicated, and I'm like, I wanted to tell you so bad because I hate secrets, but this is really live. You're getting this absolutely at the same time that everybody else is. So Tell everybody what you told me. What do you know about your family tree, who you guys are, where you come from? You and I have had this conversation many times.
Yeah.
Tell us about your background, what you know.
Well, in terms of what I know about the previous few generations, my dad's dad was born in Washington Courthouse, and he worked at Navistar for many years, retired there. My mom's dad was the son of a farmer, the first in his family to go to college, and he got an engineering degree. Mom's mom was the daughter of a Hungarian immigrant. And dad's mom, I think if you go back far enough, her family comes from Virginia, but I'm not completely sure about that. So I know that there's some history in Cleveland and some down south, but it's pretty vague when you put it all together. So I think that might be changing tonight.
Yeah, most of we've got a little bit of stuff on your mom's side, but most of it's on your dad's side. So you know a little bit about basically your grandparents, right?
Yeah, just stories from Christmas and Thanksgiving and stuff like that.
But not your great grandparents. You don't even know who they are or anything, right?
Very little, more like just like anecdotal rumors, like he was a great person, or she was interesting, or he left his family when everybody was a baby, or something like that. Just like random things that get passed down in conversation. But if you ask somebody how they know that, it's a little bit more fuzzy.
Yeah, absolutely. Lori says, good evening. Don says, genealogy's awesome. Just found out his 10th great grandfather was on the Mayflower.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
Wow. Very cool. Plymouth rockin'.
We might find you got some comparable stuff here, bud. So let's get started here. Yeah, let's start with the last name is Freshhour. Where did you say the Freshhours are from? Or
well,
what you've been told the Freshhour?
This is one of the mysteries for me. When I did my own research a little while ago, I found out that as best I could tell, there were two different Freshhours that immigrated. One came out of Germany and they were Bible makers, and the other came out of England and they were a little bit more progressive than that. So it's been kind of a mystery to me, and maybe we don't have that answer, but it's German or English, one or the other.
Which one do you want to go with?
Shoot. I'm happy with either. Let me just say that. I don't really, there's tons of benefits to coming from either place, and I'd love to be in either place one day to visit.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we go back to your great grandfather. You're on your Freshhour line. You knew your grandfather's name, and then his name was Gilbert Mervyn Freshhour. Mervyn, that's a pretty cool name, isn't it?
Gilbert, yeah. From what I understand, he did not stick around long. So I'm interested to learn what you know.
I have a good idea why he didn't. I think he might have, but when you find out a little more, there you go. I'm glad you said that. I didn't know that. But he was born in Chillicothe,
okay,
in Ross County. You've got some deep, deep roots in Ross County. And he was a farmer. Now, this is pretty cool. You said Washington Courthouse.
Mm-hmm.
They were from Jasper Township. Do you know who else has ancestors in the little itty-bitty township of Jasper Township, Washington Courthouse?
I don't know, but if I had to take an educated guess, maybe a president, since there were some presidents from Ohio. Is that true?
Yes, there are presidents from Ohio, but in the same time period, in the 1910s, the teens and the 1920s, Christopher and Russ Carson had some ancestors that lived in Jasper Township of Fayette County, Ohio, outside of Washington Courthouse. I was like, what the heck? I looked at it. You guys are on page 7, and our people are on page 21. So,
no way.
So
that's almost presidential.
Not kidding. Yeah, that's right. Not kidding. So our ancestors were neighbors 100 years ago.
That's pretty cool. And here we are working together today. Yeah. What a small world.
Yeah. Highly, highly likely knew each other. So
that's cool.
Thought that was pretty neat. In 1930, he actually moved to Dayton, and he had a pretty cool job. Every little boy wanted to do this job when they were little. He was an engineer on the B&O Railroad, man.
No way. So he was running trains at a Union Station on 6th Street at the time. That is wild. Whoa.
Remember they said he just told me that he took off. They didn't know what happened to him. But maybe he was just driving the train all over the place, you know?
Wow. If I may interrupt, that's very interesting because my dad was raised in Springfield. And when he decided to start his career and everything, he moved back to Dayton. And he might not even have known he could have been following the legacy of his grandfather. How cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And when he registered for the draft in World War II, they lived on 2153 Bell Fountain Avenue in Dayton. And I wanted to give you that address because you can go there.
Wow.
Yeah, that's very near where you live, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. That is about 4 minutes away from where I grew up as a teenager. Yep.
How about that? And that's where your great-grandfather was living. So when he was driving a train.
That is crazy. So, and to boot, my mother's parents live maybe a minute away from there. So that's wild.
Wow. Yeah, definitely is. Sure is. So your second great-grandfather, his name was Daniel Freshhour, and he was born in 1857 in Ross County.
Okay.
1857. Now, I want to give you a real quick rundown. In 1860, they lived in Huntington, Ross County, Ohio. In 1870, they lived in Bainbridge, Ross County, Ohio. In 1880, they lived in Benton and Pike County, which is just right by there. And in 1900, they lived in Concord, Ross County, Ohio. In 1910, they lived in Paint Township, Fayette County, Ohio. Every time he's a farmer, and he never owns a farm.
Huh.
What that probably means is that he was a tenant farmer.
Okay.
We find that all the time in genealogy where some guy owns a farm and he works on the farm, gets a place to live, kind of thing. We don't know that that's exactly what happened here without doing some more detailed research, but that's what they were doing more than likely because they were moving at least every 10 years, if not more. So a guy sells the house and the guy sells the farm, and the Freshhour's got to go find a new farm to work on. So
that explains all the moving, then, doesn't it?
Yeah, and I thought about how you travel all over the United States all the time. I'm like, hey, maybe it's in the blood.
It's in the blood.
Can't stay put, right? Your third great grandfather was a man by the name of James Freshhour, and he was born in 1824. In Ross County, died in 1908 in Ross County. Remember I was telling you, deep roots in Ross County now. This is we're up to 200 years now. You're an Ohioan for at least 200 years. How about that?
Now, maybe we'll get into this. I don't want to jump the gun. I gave my mom a call before we started tonight, and she, moms always have something to say when it comes to family history. And she's like, well, at one time, your grandfather found out that our ancestors actually floated up the Ohio River before it was even a state. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm going to find out more about that tonight. So I don't know if I'm getting ahead of myself or if that's true or not, but it's possible my family goes back before Ohio even started.
Yeah, no doubt. But they lived in Ohio. He did register for the Civil War draft. To the best that I can tell, he did not serve in the Civil War, but he did register, and they were farmers in Ross County, Ohio. Lived their whole entire lives there. Now, their headstones are pretty nice, and you can visit their gravesite. And usually when we see headstones that are pretty nice, doesn't always mean this, but it usually means that they weren't broke.
Yeah, right.
If you
granite's not cheap.
Money to, right. Yeah. If you had money to, to build a real nice headstone, you probably had a few extra bucks. Doesn't mean you were rich, but it means that they were probably not poor. These are just little things there. So are you ready to hear about your fourth great grandfather?
Oh, keep it coming. This is great.
Fourth great grandfather, Daniel Freshhour, was born in 1794 in Virginia. He lived a ripe old age till 1880. And you want to talk, you said Ohio became a state in 1803. We know that he was in Ohio by 1813, without a doubt. We don't know exactly when he came just yet, but he was there bright and early. And if you know about Ohio history and also Kentucky history at the time, there's usually a reason why people moved to those areas at that time. But I'll get into that in a minute. But he was a very young lad, and he served with Captain Joseph Rockmold's company in the War of 1812.
Okay, so he fought the British.
He did fight the British, and he fought the British with the Ohio militia, brand new Ohio country. And upon a little bit more research, the gentleman that he was under, a Captain Joseph Rockmold, lived in Pink Township, which is the same township that the Freshhours were living, right there in Ross County. So they would have been neighbors, and you could do some more detailed research on where that unit went, but chances are they were either home guard or they were fighting in the Western Front, which was Fort Detroit, things like that. So there's your first veteran.
Wow, that's super cool. War of 1812.
Yeah.
But
the war that people forget. The war that so many people forget. Chris said, please do more shows like this. Never seen anything like this. Great story and content.
I love it.
You ain't seen nothing yet in this story.
Bring it on, Russ. Come on. We haven't even got to the good stuff yet. What?
Your fifth great-grandfather. He went by John, but his original name was Johannes. There's a clue.
So yeah, might be a little more inland than the UK.
Yes, you might be right. But Johannes Freshhour, born in 1756.
Wow.
And he died in Maryland, by the way. And he died in 1841 right there in Ross County. Now, why was he in Ross County?
You tell me.
Well, it's very, very common for those, especially in southern Ohio. It was the Virginia military reservation there. And there was a man by the name, and you can research this fellow till the cows come home, but a man by the name of Colonel Neville, who commanded a regiment of Virginia militia in the Revolutionary War.
No way. No way. So my ancestors helped fight for the independence of this country. Is that what you're saying?
We've just begun, Jordan.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
What? It gets better? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
All right, come on.
Your fifth great grandfather is a very documented patriot. Huh. And when I say very documented, we have records galore on him. We have his pay stub records for the whole entire time that he was in. He served from December of 1776 until March of 1779. So he served, and if you're a fan of the Revolutionary War, there was a tremendous amount of battles that were fought during that time.
That's probably my favorite war. Out of all the American wars, the Revolutionary one is definitely my favorite.
Yeah, well, there's getting ready to be some favorite battles and some favorite places. Yes, on his record. Now we do have his pension application, and when a Revolutionary War soldier applied for a pension, he had to go to court and he had to give a statement of who he was with, where he did it, who was there, who else could tell you where he was and what he did. So we have a detailed description of his service, which is awesome, because you don't have to speculate by that. Now, often we find out things that Patriot left out because those particular battles or things that went on were not as big of a deal to them, they thought, as we do think today historically. But we have every quarter, basically every pay stub that he had that showed he was paid, and it showed where he was, if he was sick, if he was active, and what was going on during that time, what command he was under, and things like that. I thought it was pretty neat that he was paid, and it literally says $6 2/3 a month.
Wow, that's a little bit less than my first minimum wage job. Just a little bit. Yeah.
6 2/3, which is a weird number. Wouldn't that be 66 cents? Wasn't he paid $6.66 every month? That's what.
Interesting.
Let's go with $6.67 living since.
Man, inflation's a real killer. Wow, that puts that into perspective a little bit. How much is your money worth now? Can you live on $10 a month? I don't think so.
Right. Now, on his records and things like that, you can see what unit he was with. And the best thing we can do most of the time, if you don't have a written record of it, is we can look and see where that particular unit was during certain times and certain battles that they were in. Now, often we don't know whether or not the veteran was present for that battle, but most of the time they were. I mean, really, the only place they would have been home is where if they were sick or wounded, or if they were at some crazy had to go home or something like that for a month, or took off and was AWOL or something like that. But some really cool battles that his unit was with. They were at the Battle of Trenton.
Okay.
Battle of Princeton, Battle of Germantown, Battle of Monmouth, and he was not at the Battle of Trenton, by the way. His unit was, but he was sick. He was sick for about a month and a half, and stayed back where his unit had spent the time before the Battle of Trenton. And if you're a Revolutionary War fan, it flat out says right on his record, on his pay stubs, that he spent the winter at Valley Forge.
We've talked about that, haven't we?
We
might have
talked
covered
about
that
you.
on
We
a
talked
past
about
episode.
not your ancestry.
What you might have mentioned this. Did you say his ranking in the military?
He was a private.
Private. Wow. Cool. Wow. Yeah, we covered that just before Christmas, didn't we? Valley Forge?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't even know. I could have been learning about family history the whole time, and I wasn't aware. That's amazing.
When we did that show, you could go back and watch it now, and that your Freshhour, your own last name, your Freshhour ancestor was there.
That's so cool. That's so cool. So cool. Does it get better? Is that the big reveal? Was that the tease you couldn't tell me earlier? I mean, there's like
a few more little tidbits I'm going to throw at you, but that was pretty cool.
All right.
A couple more cool ones for you, but so that's why he was given a Revolutionary War land grant to settle in Ohio. So how did I come to Ohio? Well, you came to Ohio because he got land. He got 80 acres in Ross County because of his Revolutionary War service.
Wow. So that explains the deep connections to that area, doesn't it?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. And your own last name, kind of thing, and had a tremendous part and was in at least 3 battles that we're familiar with. And by the way, those battles were commanded by General Washington. So your Freshhour ancestor probably wouldn't have known him on a first name basis, but I guarantee you he would have saw him and been around him.
That's amazing. That is so cool.
Your Freshhour ancestor has a tremendous part in our country in being existing. Your patriot ancestor. So,
wow,
I'm just aghast, kind of thing. So,
me too.
I have Revolutionary ancestors too. They fought in the Southern campaigns, but that is really, really cool stuff, man. So, wow. And that should maybe even inflate some of your patriotism.
Well, I mean, it's so cool to know that when things were at the very beginning, that, I don't know, I'm going to take that back. I don't think there's ever been a kind of conflict ever like the Revolutionary War since then. I mean, like everybody was in on it, everyone was all in on it. It was the new world. Like this is the great experiment of democracy, and everyone had every reason to hope for the best as far as I can understand from history. So yeah, that definitely inspires a new sense of appreciation for where I've come from. 100%.
Absolutely. Well, you said everyone was in it, but see, there was only about 10% of the age-appropriate Americans that fought in the Revolution.
Wow.
So you see what I'm saying? Like there was, and the same amount of people were Tories. They supported the British, and 80% of the people didn't care. So, but
I've heard before that if 7%, I don't know how anyone gets this number, if 7% of a population wants a revolution, that's all you need to make it happen. So that 10% is above 7. So heck yeah.
It's in your blood, Jordan. It's in your blood now, without a doubt. It's in your direct male line.
That's so cool. Explains a lot.
It really does. It really does. So let me see if there's. Oh, he's got a Revolutionary War headstone and everything. You can go visit it over there in Ross County.
Wow, I think I'll be taking a visit out that way here soon.
Be a great place to take some photos, I would think, right?
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. There's John Freshhour right on there. And that's the other thing too, is we've got him on the old muster rolls and things, the old handwritten muster rolls. We've got copies of those for you. So it's so awesome. Yeah. And he was also awarded a pension. So he's awarded land and he got a pension. He got in his old age. Now, his father, your 6th great-grandfather.
Oh.
Johann Vendal Freshhour or something like that.
Freshhour. Now, I didn't mention this earlier. That word, as far as I understand in German, loosely means marshland. I think literally it means frog meadows, but basically a marsh. But Freshhour, yeah, I do know that's what we were transliterated from. So are you about to tell me that he came from Germany?
Well, they spell it Froschaur.
Yep, that sounds right.
We're going to need you to go to the DMV tomorrow and change your driver's license to on there. But he was born in 1722 in Munchen. You know where Munchen is?
Well, that's a German city, yeah.
Yeah, down deep south in the area of Munich. He was born in Munich. And he eventually passed away in 1792 in Berkeley Springs, Morgan County, West Virginia, which is modern-day West Virginia. But they were living, and that's also, I forgot to tell you, where his son, your Patriot ancestor, was living. They were living, if you look where that is, if you go a little stretch of Maryland that goes out and you look straight south. I had to look it up myself, but they were living in the absolute daggone frontier during that time, backcountry.
Wow.
And there was a lot of Scots-Irish and Germans that lived in that community. And his gravesite's right in the middle of town. There's very few headstones that are there. You can visit there, and there's a lot of German people that are buried there. But he immigrated when he was only 10 years old.
Wow.
I got the ship name, man. I got the ship name. Well, he came with his mom and dad on October the 6th, 1732 is the day the Freshhours came to America.
Wow. Dude. I never knew you could find out that much. Wow.
October 6th. October 6th, 1732. Buddy, that's almost 300 years ago. And they came through Philadelphia, like so many Germans did. And they came out of Rotterdam. They went to, so we got all this information. They came out of Rotterdam and, in modern day Netherlands there. They came over, and the name of the ship was Mary of London.
Huh. Interesting. Very interesting.
Now, after we do this thing tonight, really think about this stuff. Really, really think about Johann Freshhour, little 10 years old, coming across that boat in 1732. What the heck was going on in his mind?
Now, I don't know if you stumbled across this, but one thing I found in my brief research, like maybe a year or two ago, was I stumbled across an old translation of the world's most famous book, the Bible. And I believe up until the 19-teens, there was actually a Freshhour translation of the Bible. And I've now that I found out that the family is from Germany and not from the UK, I would love to, maybe maybe you don't, but I'm very curious to find out more about that connection that my ancestors could have played a role in the very Protestant Reformation before Johann immigrated.
You know, that's interesting. I don't have any information on that right now, but you know, usually when we go back this far, we're probably going to find a link somewhere, you know,
Yeah.
to this kind of thing. So,
Wow,
you know,
that's
it's
amazing. Can you
definitely
say that date one more time, Russ?
absolutely October the 6th, 1732.
1732. Yeah. Wow. That's a long time.
Yeah, and like I have a hard time like comprehending that, you know, to know when you came here, the day, the name of the ship. Yeah.
Man. Oh man. It's
And
hard to
30
get much
minutes
better
ago,
than that.
you knew who your grandfather was, you know, kind of thing. His parents were with him, obviously, and their names were Hans Greg Freshhour, and he was from Meckenheim, Pfalz, Germany. We know where he was from, that his record's on there. And his dad was Hans Conrad Freshhour. So now we're talking like your eighth great grandfather, you know, and he was born in 1636.
That's amazing.
1636 and died in 1702.
Wow.
So I've taken your fresh hour line almost 400 years here and deep into southern Germany.
That is amazing. So Germans, 1600s, there might be a connection to the Protestant Reformation. You really got my mind racing on that. That's pretty
It's
cool.
right about that time, isn't it? Right about the time
Yeah.
of Martin Luther and things like that. So it really is. I think that Martin Luther was up in Worms, which I think Worms is a little bit north in Germany there, but I have to check my German maps there. But yeah, during that time for sure, without a doubt. So would have had a tremendous
Sweet.
part in that. So yeah, and we usually don't go back too much further, you know, in there. Those are just some low-hanging fruits that were there and reports of things. Because when you go back that far, there's quite a bit of documentation done from researchers and stuff. Because you got gazillions of cousins from then. So
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's amazing. Like before this started, I would not have thought that you could give me information about my family going back to the 1600s. That is unbelievable. I mean, I do believe it,
yeah,
but still exceeds any expectation I would have.
almost 400 years, man. And you know what's really cool? Because you have a patriot ancestor, there's a lot of information that is out there. Because many people want to join the Sons of the American Revolution or the Daughters of the American Revolution, and they've had to prove their ancestry and things. So there's a lot of information all the way back to your patriot ancestor. And he was only second generation American. You know, the guy before him was his immigrant ancestors. So that's one reason why that's able to be traced back so easily, you know, on this one there. But
I understand. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it really is. I'm like, there's way more, but we don't have time for it tonight. But you know, if we switch over, we switch over to your mother's side for a minute.
Oh,
here,
yeah, let's do that.
And what she was what was her maiden name?
Her maiden name was Knife, just like the kitchen utensil.
Right. That's a pretty cool name, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
and from what I understand, yeah, her father was a farmer. Her mother supported him, but beyond that, I don't know. Except I've heard a rumor, like I mentioned earlier, that they may have been some very early settlers themselves in the state.
Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. And we go back to your great grandfather. He had one of the coolest names on earth. His name was Russell Knife. But,
Oh yeah,
or Russ
yeah,
Knife.
Russell. Yeah, what would you know about that
Or
name?
Russ,
Yeah, that's my favorite. My
oh, Rusty.
favorite breed of small dog is the Jack Russell. Also, I like
There
those.
you go. There you go. That's right. Another connection, right? I wonder if his buddies called him Rusty Knife. But
Yeah, very possible. Very possible.
well, he had a really cool job, man. And during the Great Depression, he was an installer of elevators.
No way. Do you know what kind? The Otis
Yeah,
Elevator Company is based out of Dayton, Ohio.
Yep.
No
There
way.
you
Okay,
go.
that's the one.
Makes
That
sense.
explains it. They're still open on Patterson Boulevard, actually. You can go in there.
I bet you could probably go there and ask them about some old records they'll have. They may have some old applications and documents that your great grandfather had on there.
It's worth a shot. Wow. Super
Yeah,
cool.
absolutely. On his World War II draft card, I thought you'd like to see this. He was 5'7", 175 pounds.
Okay, so almost my build, actually, almost my
Yeah,
exact build.
that's what I was thinking, kind of
Yeah,
thing. So
5'9",
pretty neat how that
170.
was. Yeah, and of course, his dad was Charles Knife, born in 1866 there in Monroe Township, and Miami County, and they're in Ohio, and his wife was Eva McCain, and we haven't chased that line yet, but when you start getting into mix, you find some cool stuff in there too. So you've got a lot of still hidden secrets in there that haven't been touched. But what's cool about that, and this is what's a bummer about you being on the other side here. Normally we can feed you photos that you can show, but we've got these documents you could be showing along the way here, but we've got a photo of them. We've got a photo of your grandparents. Yeah, really cool. Looks just like you. It's got a great big old white beard. Yeah, oh yeah, I'm sure we'll be sending this stuff to you tonight, kind of thing. But he was a farmer, and he was long list of farmers here. We go back to his dad, his third great grandfather, David Knife, who was also born in the same township of Monroe Township there in Miami County. He died in 1890. So now we're back almost 200 years in the county. Don't you live in Miami County?
I have lived in Montgomery my whole life, but that's just north.
One county over?
The county you mentioned should be one county above, or two, one or two. I forget.
Yeah, okay. So there you go, in the same area there. You've got 200 years plus in the same area there.
Actually, I think back then all of that was one county, actually, believe it or not. I think Montgomery went all the way up to Michigan, believe it or not. So,
oh, I'm sure, yeah, absolutely. And so he was a farmer. His dad was Jonathan Knife, who was actually from Fayette County, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And he was born in 1808, and we actually have a photo of them, your fourth great grandparents.
Wow.
It's actually, it looks like it's a chalking, and a chalking is people would come about your area, your town, and literally take chalks and draw you out. I have some of my own ancestors back before photography was popular and stuff. So
I do like chalk art. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, yeah, it's really cool. Your fifth great grandfather was Michael Knife Jr., and he was born in 1755 in Pennsylvania, and he died in 1825 in Monroe, in Miami County. Now, what's interesting about him is he's born in 1755, which would put him about 21, 22 at the Revolution time period. Don't find anything yet on him as a Revolutionary War veteran, but what we did find is an 1820 document when he was an old man that was granting him 80 acres in Ohio, and it's signed by President John Quincy Adams.
Wow. Very cool. So he had a presidential land grant? That is
president, it's kind of like the land grants and things back then. I doubt the president actually signed every one of those, kind of thing. But we've seen lots of those that are out there, but it had to be cleared through the office of the president. So
absolutely,
still pretty cool. But we know that in 1820 is when the Freshhours were moving, or not the Freshhours, the Knights were moving to Ohio.
Okay. Wow.
And and we also have a copy of his will. And I filtered through his will very briefly on there. It says, I gave my brown cow to my daughter, and I give my milk cow to my son. And, it's really cool. And they document everything that they own. That's what's awesome about that is, I gave my cup, to this one and that one. And it's really cool. It's really awesome. Of course, most of the furniture went to the wife. But
can you imagine getting a call from a passed on ancestor and yes, he left you his cow, Russ. We'll be sending it in the mail. A little different back then, right. But man, it's amazing to think about that and how times have changed.
Absolutely. And I've got to do some more digging here, but his dad, your sixth great grandfather, Michael Knight Sr., was born in 1740 in Maryland, and he died in 1804 in Fayette County, Pennsylvania. Now, the reason why I brought that up is I do not know this, but knowing history like I do and genealogy like I do, since I didn't find a record for Michael Jr., perhaps his land grant for 80 acres was his father's from the French and Indian War.
Whoa, that's smart thinking right there.
But that's what happened a lot. Like Kentucky, they originally were looking before in 1774 before settlement. There was explorers out here that was looking for places to give land to French and Indian War veterans, and that took place there back in 1768 kind of thing in the 1760s. So he is the right age for that. So I don't know that that's the case. It's a big time assumption right there. But somebody got a land grant for some reason. So either he's a Revolutionary War veteran, or his brother is, or his uncle is, and he was the sole heir, or somebody's a French and Indian War veteran, one or the other.
Well, either way, that's super cool.
Yeah. So both sides, your mom's side and your dad's side, on their direct male lines, they got land grants for, into Ohio.
Same size. You said 80 acres, right? So the same amount at that. And then it sounds like the same time period, roughly, they were in Maryland at the same time, too.
Yes. Well, it's not uncommon to be that Maryland and Virginia area. Those are the people that settled here. That's where they gave them the land, either in Kentucky or into southern Ohio. That's real common.
If I have to say, having heard that twice, I am literally in Waldorf, Maryland today. So maybe I should try and figure out if there's any history in this town, because you know how fate has a funny way of talking to you sometimes. So that's really, really fascinating, Russ. I love it.
Yeah, it really is. It really, really is, for sure. So I'm going to jump over, and I'm almost done for the evening because we've been going a while here, and there's tons of things more that I could tell you right now. But I wanted to leave you with this one. If we jump lines a little bit, this is on your mother's side. I was looking for something really spectacular about this. We switch over to your sixth great grandfather, Charles Binns, Binns.
Okay.
I know that name means nothing to you, but after this show, you're going to be able to. Don said French grants are here in Scioto County on the river. Yes, let me tell you that quick story real fast. Gallia County was founded by refugees from the French Revolution that were supposedly given land grants in Gallia County, Ohio. But the people that sold the land grants didn't own the land. So the president of the United States, George Washington, came in and gave them land in Scioto County. So that's what he's talking about right there. That's a whole nother story there. I'm sorry. I get excited about
It's all great.
But Gallia is Gaul. Gaul is the old name for France. You got Gallipolis, Ohio. The city of the Gaul.
Okay.
But
that's interesting. Yeah. Wow. I never knew that connection. Gallipolis being maybe a French founded city. That's really cool.
You remember Julius Caesar conquered Gaul. He conquered France. He conquered France, the Gauls. So. Going back to your sixth great grandfather, Charles Binns. Okay, we got to jump over a couple lines from the knives there, but you can look him up. He was born in 1740 in Surry County, Virginia. He died about 1800 in Leesburg and Loudoun County, Virginia, and he was the first clerk of Loudoun County, Virginia.
Wow.
There wasn't a whole lot of government positions back then. So to be the clerk was a pretty important position. You documented all the deeds, documented all the potential government papers and things like that. But he served for 42 years in that position.
Wow, lifer.
But check it out. Have you seen the movie National Treasure?
Yeah, totally. Let's steal the Declaration of Independence.
Well, he built a house in 1857. It's a beautiful home, built of stone. You can see it. You can visit it, Jordan, of the house of your sixth great grandfather there in Leesburg, Virginia. And during the War of 1812, Washington was occupied by the British. and they burned a tremendous amount of Washington, D.C. And I'm going to leave this with you here. In the basement of the house of your sixth great grandfather, they stored the Articles of the Confederation, the Declaration of Independence, and the Constitution was stored in the basement of your sixth great grandfather.
Are you screwing with me? No.
Nope.
No way, man. That is wild. I remember reading that story in history class. That's why the White House got called the White House. You know, it wasn't white before then, you know, because it got burned down. It was black. And I didn't know they had the, wow. I guess they had to take the important documents somewhere. My mind's blown right now. Give me a second. Holy heck. Man. Cool. Yeah, Freshhours, I guess we're good at keeping important things, preserved. We're good at that. That explains a little bit of my love for documenting history with my camera.
And there's, like I said, there's a painting of him. They stored the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution and the Articles of Confederation in a hidden vault in the basement of your sixth great grandfather.
Dude. And that's, wow, that is unexpected. Wow, let's go. Yeah, National Treasure. I see the reference. Man, that is so cool. I don't have anything else to say other than that's really unexpected and incredible. And I'm going to be doing a lot of Googling when this stream is over. Let me tell you what.
Yeah, no doubt. You're going to be doing some visiting kind of things. And that's the thing about genealogy is it makes history real. It makes it personal. It makes it that this isn't just some daggone story in a book or something I had to learn and take a test about. This is something that really, really happened to my DNA. My DNA was there.
Yeah.
I mean, your DNA was there.
That's pretty cool. And you said that this is just a fraction of what you could dig up. Is that correct? What we've talked about today?
God. We all have, we started with your great grandparents. We all have 8 of those. We've all got 16 great greats. We've all got 32 three-time greats. We've all got 64 4-time greats. I wanted to just give you some information about the direct mail lines from you. I've only veered off on this one story from just direct mail lines. You have so many stories that are waiting to be discovered out there already.
Well, if we ever do a second episode, one of the most curious parts of my past, I don't have a lot of answers for, is the part of my ancestry that came from Hungary. So I've learned today that, man, on one side, I'm like this true-blooded American going back hundreds of years. And then, there's a whole other side of the American story too, right? That this is the land of opportunity, and millions of people over the centuries have come to this place to find hope for their future and to have a better life for their families. So if we ever get into more, I'm so curious to know what that experience might have been like coming from Hungary, if that's even right. So that it's just amazing. Well, everything I've learned today, and it's like to think that there could be like even more, and like I bet this is pretty dang hard to top. But like you said, 64, and once you go back, and then what, 128? It's an exponential
64
thing.
4 grades. Yeah.
That's
128.
Wow, I'm flabbergasted.
Yeah, this is just the beginning, kind of thing. Now, I don't know that we'll be able to top that. You may just be farmers, on top, things. But these are some really cool stories, and you can take ownership now in the American Revolution and in the flag itself. I mean, kind of thing. I mean, you've got some serious deep roots in the country and some people that sacrificed tremendous. Hey, I forgot to tell you one more thing though about old Charles Benz. He was given your sixth great grandfather. He was given a land grant in Kentucky, right next to a land grant of Daniel Boone's.
Wow. So they might have been
never came.
Neighbors. No.
He never came. He sold it. He sold it. He chopped it up and sold it, but he could have been old Daniel Boone's neighbor.
Well, at least I hope he made a profit. Hopefully he made a couple bucks.
He probably had no idea who Daniel Boone was at the time either, so
right.
Nor cared. He just needed that money. He was the county clerk. So Amanda said it would be cool if we should go and do a video with you at the Benz house where they stored
that would be, sign me up. Totally. Let's go on a road trip, Russ.
Yeah, yeah, that's not undoable. That's very doable. So, yeah, man. But who's going to take the photos if you're so?
Self timer and a tripod. That's what we'll do.
So we have just barely scratched the surface of who Jordan Freshour really is and who his people are. What is different? Because this was real. This was absolutely real. You knew none of this,
Yep.
and I couldn't stand to not tell you this. But what do you think about this? What's changed? What's different? What's the same? What's your take?
Well, it's really kind of cool to hear that maybe more than anything, there's this history of grit more than any one specific accomplishment. I don't know how family lines compare, and it's not a comparison, but like some people, like they want to go and they want to create something new. They want to turn the status quo upside down, make the world a little bit of a better place. I definitely feel that in my bones, and to know that there might be this history in my DNA where people put their lives on the line to fight for the things that they believe in, that's really freaking cool. And, very inspiring because, man, we just all got through 2020, right? We're all kind of like been eating a crap sandwich and, wondering, like how great really is life right now. And, maybe that's a little cynical, but in changing times, it's really cool to hear stories that let me dig down deep and find out what I'm really made of, because this is a crazy changing world, and finding out that's in my my history, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. It's very,
Yeah,
very encouraging. Let's just say that.
deep roots, and now you have a connection. You're very, very, very much an Ohioan, and you're a Virginian. What is a person from a Marylander? And a Pennsylvania. Definitely roots there
I feel
straight
more
over.
connected. I feel connected to the place I'm even at today. Like I'm basically just in a suburb of DC, but like I'll leave with a completely different perspective than when I got here. It's like, yeah, home might not just be Dayton, Ohio. Heck, it's all these places that my ancestors have been to.
What town are you in?
Right now, I'm in Waldorf, Maryland.
Okay, Waldorf, Maryland to Leesburg, Virginia. I don't have any idea. About 68 miles, about an hour
Not too
away.
far.
Looks like you're north. Yeah, you're south of DC. This is directly due west of DC there. So, but yeah, DC in the middle. So still in the same somewhat metro area where the documents were stored in your grandpa's basement.
Man, what's crazy is I never even knew that was a story. So like I'm hearing two things, right? That they had to hide all the important documents in a basement somewhere, and my great 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 grandfather got to make sure that happened. Unbelievable. I mean, that's just if you learned half of that story, that would be amazing. But that both parts at once, man, I'm speechless. It's incredible.
Yeah, you definitely have something to be proud of, and your kids have something to be proud of the founding and the making of America. You've got a right to it. You literally have a right to it, and that's amazing. So, but anything else you want to say?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for this incredible experience. Um, I I would. I'm experiencing everything you've seen on my face. This is a genuine reaction. Russ didn't tell me any information before we started, so I can just imagine that if you're going to be a person that wants to understand your genealogy, wants to dive into your family history, you're probably going to feel a little bit the same. So, if I can just do a shameless plug for you, for us, like, man, I would love other people to have that experience. So, Family Tree Nuts, thank you so much. I cannot recommend you guys enough.
Yeah, appreciate that. And yeah, we've had tons and tons and tons of clients that feel that way, but we've never done this before. Maybe this is a new thing, huh? But
well, I'm definitely going to be telling more people about it than before, because it's one thing to understand what you guys do, and then after today, I've gotten to experience what you guys do, and that is amazing.
Yeah, and I'm glad we got to share that with everybody. There's a ton of comments I haven't even been able to even think about monitoring those comments. So I'm sorry about not getting to those, but lots and lots of comments on there. But
yeah, my cousin said, I'm going to need this in a written summary. Super cool, cuz. So, yeah, I
Yeah,
think that's coming, Cody. So, can't
we
wait.
provide you with document detail. That's part of some things that we do here at Family Tree Nuts. So, but Amanda just started today working with a lady from Puerto Rico. So the records are all in Spanish. She's going to be doing that. So that was pretty cool. So
Nice.
I'm looking forward to that. I looked at some of the records. You can pretty much make out some of the stuff, but I'm real excited to see that one. But anyway, we're going on a tangent. So
That's so cool.
I guess we'll be back on Wednesday. Mary Grace and I think Sue will be talking about Idaho. And then Jameson and I are going to be there on Thursday talking about March the 4th, a golden day in history. Many things happen on March the 4th in history, including the hatching of me.
Whoa.
So,
All right. Well, yeah, we got to learn more about Russ after all of this. You told the whole world about me, and they just met me today. Man, we got to get to the Carson family history eventually. I cannot wait to do that one.
Oh, we've got some good stuff. I don't have any Valley Forge, but I don't have any documents in the basement, but we've got some great stuff to be proud of too. And I think everybody really does if you really start looking. So, and
yeah,
we
you
love
don't
to tell
know until you try. You don't know until you hire somebody, right? So what do you have to lose? Anyone should give you a call.
Well, one of the requirements for being with Family Tree Nuts is you got to have a passion for this stuff. And I'm here to tell you, when we find stuff, we find stuff in people's family trees, we get just as excited as they are. Sometimes maybe more, because we really understand the concept and where it is and how rare this is, and and I just flabbergasted about the things that are out there. But we get just as excited as you do. Maybe too excited where we spend too much time chasing the story and getting back to the actual thing we're supposed to be doing there. But I know Sue knows about that. She chases rabbits, on our trees. But I'll shut up, man. Sorry, I'm rambling on. We went a little long, didn't we?
Russ and team, thank you so much. And man, if you want to do this again, if there's enough content for another episode, you're more than welcome to have me on again. And I think anybody who's watching, if you think your family tree is just finding out the information is too complicated, or you just don't know where to start, Russ, Family Tree Nuts, they're your person. Let them know what they can do for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that for sure. And we appreciate everything you guys at Steadilive do for us. You guys handle the editing of our videos and things like that. And Jordan, nobody sees Jordan on there, but he's on every episode that we do and things like that. So we appreciate you too. And we feel like we're all part of one team. So
absolutely. One big family.
Yeah, man. So you want to do the jingle? You never got to do the little jingle. I'm taking us out. So.
All right. We got to do it together. So you start it. I'll finish it. How about that?
Okay. All right. Here we go. So Family Tree Nuts.
Let our nuts find the nuts in your family tree.
So you've built your family tree and made a ton of amazing discoveries. What a fulfilling experience it is to breathe life back into them. But what are you going to do with all the information that you found? Are you going to let it sit on some computer or some website? Maybe hand off stacks of papers and binders that you have to some relative that may be interested, but maybe not be able to make heads or tails of the research that you've done. Let us help honor your ancestors in video. At Family Tree Nuts, we make videos with you at the location of relevance to your ancestors, such as their gravesite, their homes, land, or other location pertaining to them. You tell their story in your words, documenting them forever. The professionally produced videos are published on our YouTube page, where they are easily shared with your family members. The videos are also searchable and will be able to be seen for centuries by your descendants. Imagine being able to see a video of one of your ancestors. Well, your descendants are going to be able to do just that. And we have tons of examples that we can share with you. These videos are fun to make, and we can make many of them in just a single day. Don't let those amazing discoveries that you found slip back away into the darkness. Let us help you honor them by, in a sense, keeping them alive forever. Contact us for details.